Hey, well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this Facebook Live. If you join us after this is live, glad to have you. Let us know where you're from, especially if you're from out of state or out of Anchorage. We are here at Alaska's News Source, which is in Anchorage, Alaska, and glad to have you with us. I'm Meteorologist Robert Forgit. We're going to go over some weather. I'm going to try to make it quick, but it never is because I always have time to explain it, so which is great. And we have had some beautiful weather here over the last 3 or 4 days. Had a chance to go sailing out of Resurrection Bay. It was just spectacular, like shorts weather. That's how good it's been. So let's go ahead and talk about the weather because we have our first heat advisory in the state that's been issued by the National Weather Service for the interior. I'll explain that in a minute. But before we do that, let's go ahead and see if I do this right. And there's our current conditions right now through South Central. Matter of fact, 71 degrees in Talkeetna, 66 in Palmer, 53 in Seward. For those that don't know, it is roughly about 8:42 p.m. here, and we're still seeing these temperatures, and of course we are seeing daylight all the way to about 11:30. I'll show you those daytime temperatures and the daytime sunrise and sunset. Hey, sunshine, speaking of sunshine, thanks for joining me. I see that you're on. Always good to have you, and always great to see you at the airport too. As we go ahead and take a look, we'll go ahead and see what's happening. Here's a look from Eagle River out towards Anchorage, and certainly is a beautiful night. Not too much in the way of wind. It's been a great night just to do some hiking. Hey, if you're online and I can see we've got a lot of viewers, please let me know where you're from and let me know how your weather is. So we're starting to get some viewers now. I love it. 64 degrees for Anchorage was the high, 52 the low. Normally about 63 and 48. That's about normal for this time of year. And thank goodness, because we have been about 10 to 14 degrees cooler just last week when we had all that rain. So right now as we look, we'll go ahead and talk a little bit about Anchorage. We're looking at clear skies for tonight, low about 51, south winds about 5 to 10 miles an hour. And when these temperatures like this, we always like a little south wind because we leave our windows open. Most of us don't have air conditioning up here. We actually rely on the environmental air conditioning. So when it gets warm, those houses get warm. Now, let's go, speaking of warm, into the interior, where current conditions are around 80 degrees. Nanacy at 80, 79 in Fairbanks, Fort Yukon at 77, Delta Junction rather warm, Bethel 53 and cloudy. Jojo, thanks for letting me know. Amanda from Redding, California. Wow, love to have people joining us from the lower 48, and I've even had people join us from overseas, so always good to have you online. Wasilla, William, thank you. Hopefully you'll get outside and enjoy it. It's still early for us with all this daylight. 74 in Tokes, 76 in Eagle. A quick forecast for those that don't want to hang out much longer. For Sunday, we're looking at mostly sunny skies, 62 in Anchorage, 85 with a heat advisor. I'll explain that in a minute. For Fairbanks, it's not going to be their hottest, but the National Weather Service has now decided to do heat advisories. Juneau looking at partly cloudy and 60, and Bethel going to come in with some rain and 61. I don't see a lot in the way of Juneau. That little raindrop, the icon, maybe for some showers, but I really don't see it happening until later in the afternoon, evening. Hey, speaking of sunrise and sunset, that's what we've got. Janet, nice to have you on board. Nice to see you from Anchorage and Mesquite, Texas. Philip, thanks for joining us. Wow, speaking of hot, it's hot there. We're looking at 19 hours and 18 minutes in Anchorage. Our sun doesn't set till 11:39. Then you go up to Fairbanks where it rises at 3 in the morning, sets at 12:42, meaning like after midnight, with 21 hours and 43 minutes. And for those that really follow us, notice that the gain in time is getting less and less. We're almost at summer solstice, which is on Friday, and then we'll start losing time. Sunrise for Juneau, 3:51, 18 hours and 14 minutes, and 19 hours and 8 minutes for our friends in Bethel. So that's what we're looking at, sunrise. Raul, nice to have you. So let's go ahead and look at the upper air condition. And the reason I talk about the upper air conditions is because where you see the yellow is where we'll see warm temperatures. Now, this is at the 500 millibar level, so we have a little bit of high pressure at the 500 millibar level, and then all the green is low pressure at that same level at 500 millibars. And it is a steering mechanism for us. So, Jonathan, nice to have you. You said, do you think Canada's fire is going to affect Alaska's weather this summer? I don't think so, but I think we'll have our own fires to worry about. A lot of people have noticed a little bit of haze and smoke when we get that southerly flow coming up the southeast. We do see a lot of haze and a lot of smoke from that, but I don't expect us to see a lot of impact, at least from the Canada fires here, but I think we're going to have, as we're already starting to have, a warm summer. So, and I do expect us to have some fires in the state. If you notice, that warm is over the interior, and as a result, the cooler air is kind of wrapping around the state of Alaska, and those are low pressure systems which are producing some moisture. But as we go ahead, and I'll show you the real, at least the lower altitude forecast lows and highs, and you'll see the similarity to that. But if we get all the way into Monday, still looking at some warm temperatures up in Fairbanks and the interior, and also a flood watch for much of the Brooks Range tributaries as the snow is going to melt. As we go ahead, we're looking at high temperatures today. It was Fairbanks at 80, 78 in Northway, 71 in McGrath. So with that, pretty warm temperatures throughout much of the region, and we're going to continue to see even higher temperatures tomorrow with 57 in Skagway. The high in the state was Eagle, which is just almost on the Alcam border for those that don't know. Where Fort Yukon is and Fairbanks, if you can imagine, really close to Fort Yukon, but not, it's just kind of between the two, 82 degrees, that's about all I can kind of pinpoint it for you without having a map. But we saw 76 in Galena, 52 in Kodiak. Most regions really seeing some warm temperatures, and right now temperatures cooling up. It's still 79 in Fairbanks, 57 in Ketchikan. Unalaska seeing cloudy skies, some rain out there as a result of a low pressure system, and 45, 51 in Kotzebue. If you are used to having me on and see this, we will do a factoid, as I always do towards the end of the show. Arnold, nice to have you from Gamble. Diana Wasilla, nice to have you as well. Let's go ahead and move on. Rain totals, I just want to show this. There isn't much in the order of rain, so things are going to be dry, at least through Monday. We could see some showers moving through Valdez, Gulkana, Galena, Talkeetna, Palmer, and as we continue to kind of keep this timeline moving, you start seeing it in Whittier, a little bit of Anchorage. All this is showery activity due to instability in the evenings or afternoons when we get all that heating over the mountains. So let's go ahead and talk about the lows and the highs. And as we do, I want to make sure that we know what those are exactly. And when you talk about highs and lows, you obviously see this shot, which it represents high pressure. When you have no clouds at all, you know you have high pressure. But when you have lows, they spin counterclockwise. They're located, of course, they are our weather producers, and they typically have clouds wrapped around that low pressure because it's instability. So let's talk about that a little bit. Let me see if I get the right screen. There we go. You can see that we have low pressure down in the southeast, so there might be a few showers, mainly around Kenai, because that's almost south of Alaska. And then we have the low that's just off the Aleutian chain, and the one also around the Bristol Bay area. And those are going to remain somewhat in place because high pressure, that H, represents high pressure. It is kind of a blocking net mechanism. Everything's got to go around it, and that is what's going to create the warmth in the interior, because there is no low, which brings down cooler air, by the way, no low expected to hit the interior. All that is down south and hitting the southern part, or the southern Gulf of Alaska, with the rest of it, that low just off of, basically in the Bering Sea, just kind of remaining stationary. So with high pressure and no Arctic flow, it is going to be warm. So southeast Alaska, we're looking at some sunshine. Hey, Dave, nice to have you. Dave Allgood is on Facebook. Of course, Dave, his great stories, and was always loved to have him here. And he's gone to bigger and better things. So nice to have you on, Dave. As we go to the southeast part of Alaska, it is sun and clouds tomorrow. Temperatures in the 60s, 62 in Petersburg. Interior heat advisory through Tuesday. 85 expected for Fairbanks, Fort Yukon 84, 80 in Delta Junction. Healy coming in at 77. All those locations have a chance of some thunderstorm activity, especially in the afternoon. Arnold, nice to have you here. As we go ahead and see the North Slope, I talked about the flood watch for Brooks Range drainages. Because that snow is melting off the mountains, it could increase the stream activity and also the rivers. And with ice jams, all that water's got to go somewhere. If you jam a river, it's got to go around that. And that's when we get the flooding as the water backs up behind it. Because typically we see the big rivers like the Yukon and Kuskokwim, they melt first the farther east, but downstream they still can be very cold with those ice jams. So we do have a flood watch for those areas. But temperatures 62 in Dead Horse tomorrow. So hey, nice to have you from Fairbanks, and it's I hope I said this right. Alela? I hope I did that right. If I didn't, I apologize. So western Alaska, we are going to see 79 in Galena, 67 in Unalakleet. Going down to Bethel, 61. Again, McGrath, 77, you might see a little bit of thunderstorm activity for you, but all in all, it is going to be a gorgeous day if you like sunshine tomorrow. The only place that's not going to see it because of that low pressure sitting in the Bristol Bay area is Coal Bay, Unalaska. There we'll see temperature around 50 with rain expected. Also Dillingham sharing that. Cloudy for you in St. Paul. And that is what we are looking at. As we go to the Kenai, temperatures in the 50s along the coast, 60s inland, 63 in Soldotna. And speaking of warm temperatures, as you go up to Glen Allen, looking at 78, of course that's farther inland. Along the coast again, a nice day, 58 in Valdez, Whittier at 55. Matsu getting in the 70s with Willow and Talkeetna, while still in Palmer in the upper 60s, though I think you're going to hit 70. Mostly sunny skies for Anchorage and 62, 63 in Girdwood. And now what I'd like to do is go ahead and let's do a factoid. And here's the factoid for you. The Northern Hemisphere summer solstice is Friday, coming up, June 20th, 7:42 p.m. And that's Pacific Daylight Time. It is the exact time that the sun is directly over this. Is it the equator, the Tropic of Capricorn, Tropic of Cancer, or the North Pole? What do you think it is? Let's go ahead and take a guess. Love to know if you have the right answer to this. Again, when we have the Northern Hemisphere's summer equinox, where does the sun hit? For just a moment in time, directly over this point. It's perpendicular, right on top of it. Is it the Tropic of Cancer, the Tropic of Capricorn, the equator, or the North Pole? What do you think the guess is? I'll take you back to the screen so you can see it, and then you tell me what you think it is. Is it equator, A, B, Tropic of Capricorn, Tropic of Cancer, C, or D, North Pole? Go ahead and give me your answers. I got C from Hooch. Thanks. I got Janet saying B. She thinks it's Capricorn. Let's see, anyone else? We've got a lot of viewers online, so give me your answer. Janet's coming in with B, C for Hooch. Anybody else want to play? Sunshine, thanks for participating. He's saying C, Tropic of Cancer. All right, I'll give it a few minutes. Again, the Northern Hemisphere summer solstice is Friday, June 20th, 7:42 p.m. It is the exact time the sun is directly overhead. Which position on the planet? Of course, the equator, Tropic of Capricorn, Tropic of Cancer, all those imaginary lines, or the North Pole. Jane's going to go with D, the North Pole. She thinks the sun will be directly overhead the North Pole on June 20th. Anybody else want to take a guess? Give you just a few more seconds, and then I'm going to give you the answer. Nancy's going with D, and we got D from Jane. Nancy's got D. A from Philip. Philip's going with A. Sanja's going with D. Got a lot of D's tonight. And I think it's Rublusi. I think it's kind of run together, but she says A. We've got Alea. I hope I said that right. Alea. Gosh, I wish you could phonetically spell that for me so I could say it correctly. She's going with D, the North Pole. Where is the sun directly overhead? Anybody else want to take a guess? We've got a little bit of time, and I'm going to look in YouTube, see if anyone's there, okay, and answering their questions. We do live YouTube as well as Facebook. Fern is going with D, the North Pole. Okay, 10 seconds. 10 seconds for your answer. What do you think it is? I love doing factoids. I've been doing it over 20 years. Started doing it on the radio, Forgit Factoids. It was Friday Forgit Factoids. And then I brought it to television, and I love it. I love it. Everyone says they like it too, so I'll keep doing it. Matt's going with A. I'm checking the Facebook to see what you say. So here we go. Last chance to guess. Let's see if you can. Which one do you think it is? C's coming in. Cheryl Lynn, thanks. Got a lot of viewers tonight. Matt's going with A. Lois going with B. Fern going with D. And here comes the answer, Aaliyah. Oh, Aaliyah, okay. It looked like an L in the middle, and it's an I, so Aaliyah, of course. Thank you, Aaliyah Bordeaux. And here we go, here's the answer. We're gonna hit it. Did you get it right? It is Tropic of Cancer. And of course, our seasons are due to that 23.5 degree Earth's axis tilt. That's why we actually have the seasons. Now I'm going to give you the 7-day forecast for 3 locations, cities, and see if that helps you out for where you might be. And we'll start off with Anchorage, 62 tomorrow, mostly sunny. And Franklin, thanks for guessing C. Go ahead and look at the rest of the weekend. Pretty good, 68, and on Thursday should be fairly nice. Had some visitors coming from Fairbanks. Bye, guys. We'll see ya. So they were watching the show from just behind, just in front of me. And for Fairbanks, going to be in the 80s all week, and 86, maybe some thunderstorm activity tomorrow. Also on Monday, with the temperatures in the low 80s as we get into the last part of the week. And finally, we're going to go to Juneau, and Juneau's going to see mostly sunny skies. Rain, though, on Monday with that secondary low coming in. It's associated front. Then you're looking at temperatures in the 70s by Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. So that's what we're looking at. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this Facebook post. If you are going to see it later, you're seeing it later, and not at 8:58 p.m., we'll go ahead and just say thank you for watching. Love when you view us, and also if you want to leave where you're from, that'd be great too. We always like to see where everyone else is. And as I always say, you know what? Be kind. Be kind to others. Be kind to your neighbor. Just do a good deed for the day. I try to do one every day. But most importantly, I hope you do one thing, and that is be kind to yourself. Do something nice for yourself. You deserve it. And I really appreciate when you watch, because that's being kind to me, and I just enjoy talking to you and sharing the weather with you. To me, it's a big story that never ends. So with that, have a great night and have a good weekend. I'll be back tomorrow night too, so feel free to join me about the same time. All right, with that, have a great night.